In this video, I'm going to tell you the secret to instantly becoming happier. And no, despite what everyone thinks, it's not by chasing happiness. I broke down exactly why this is in my last video, so if you haven't yet, make sure to check that out. But if you just want to learn what you can do instead, then keep watching. Before I tell you though, I think it's worth asking why so many people think and act as if chasing happiness works. I mean, after years of trying this method with no success, you'd think people would try something new, right? Wrong. Unfortunately, people rarely ever admit that chasing happiness will never work because people love trying to think their way out of their emotions. The assumption here is that because their brain, or more accurately, their mind, has fixed most of their problems in life, they can apply it to all problems indiscriminately. This leads them to try to do things as directly as possible, which implies trying to find the shortest, most logical, most efficient solution to their problems. And this, in turn, leads them to chase happiness. What they don't realize is that this is exactly like trying to assemble a table with a saw. It's the wrong tool for the job. So while it may work for external problems, 99.9% of the time it won't work for internal problems. Why? Because internal problems live in the realm of spirituality, and this realm has different rules and frameworks than the material realm. This means that what might to us seem like the most logical, easiest, most direct way of addressing a problem might actually be the complete opposite of what we should be doing, and therefore only serves to complicate our path forward. It's kind of like looking at a map to try to decide how to get from A to B. The most logical thing might seemingly be to draw a straight line between these 2 points, but once you try to actually walk the route you planned, you find out that it traverses mountains and swamps and other dangerous territory, and that it would have been a lot easier to go around these things instead. So what should you do? I'll tell you. What you should aim to do is to attain happiness indirectly. What does this mean? It means you have to create the internal conditions within yourself that invite happiness in. And that way you'll stop having to chase it and you'll start attracting it to yourself instead, like bees to honey. But how do you do that? I could just tell you the answer, but instead I'll guide you to it through a series of questions because I really think it's important that you know and understand why it's the answer. I know there's a lot more steps to doing things this way than the way you've been trying for years, which theoretically would only include 2. 1, chase happiness, 2, attain it. But oftentimes in life, doing things the slow way will actually give you better results faster than the fast way, if the fast way gives you any positive results at all. It's kind of like the tortoise and the hare. So in order to figure out what invites happiness in, you first have to ask yourself what the prerequisites of it is. I invite you to pause the video here and actually do this exercise yourself before I guide you to the answer. However, if you choose not to do this, then at least reflect on it so you can convince yourself that it's true, instead of just believing that it is because some stranger on the internet, aka me, told you so. How well you do this will determine how lasting the happiness you achieve will be. Though, if even after knowing all this, you still really just want to cut to the chase, then skip to the timestamp that I've labeled as the answer. I'll put it in text here too. Okay, so having said that, think back to any moment that you've been happy. What other feelings were present? For me, ease immediately comes to mind, as do relaxed, at peace, and present. You probably have a similar list, so now ask yourself if you can make yourself be at ease, at peace, and present. If you're having trouble answering this, think back to the times you tried to force yourself to fall asleep or make yourself relax. Have you ever tried to be present? How did it go? I'm guessing not so good, because trying to do any of these things is the same thing as trying to be happy. It just makes things worse. So that means that we have to go a level deeper and ask ourselves what makes us feel at ease, relaxed, and present. And no, it's not happiness, because we're trying to find something that we can directly have an influence on. And as we've already seen, we can't make ourselves be happy. Plus, happiness is a result of feeling at ease, relaxed, and present, not the other way around. So, what does make you feel these things? I'll give you a hint. Since it may not be super obvious, if you try to figure it out from this angle, ask yourself what the opposite of these things is. Hopefully, the answer you came up with was tension, whether mental, physical, or emotional. If you didn't, I'll explain why and how I did by again using reverse logic. So consider that what takes you out of the present moment is having a lot of thoughts, and that can be categorized as mental tension. Consider also that if you're not at ease, relaxed, and at peace, then that can only mean that you're tense, which is an indication of physical and/or emotional tension. Taken together, this means that the opposite of ease, relaxation, and presence is tension. Now, answering what the cause of tension is hopefully a lot easier than trying to answer what the cause of ease, relaxation, and presence is. But if it's not, then I'll give you the answer, or at least the answer that satisfies me. The cause is resistance. And what's the opposite of resistance? Acceptance. And since acceptance is definitely something we can directly control, it means we've arrived at our final answer, which is that to allow happiness to flow into our lives, we must first come into acceptance. Sounds simple enough, right? But that's only when it's talked about in the abstract. In reality, at least at first, it's pretty damn hard because it means having to let go of your old bad habit of resisting almost everything around you and within you. If you think you don't have this habit, then I challenge you to sit down and really think about when the last time you went through an entire day without resisting something was. And yes, that includes complaining about traffic, your job, or your coworkers. And it means not wishing that you could live somewhere else or changing any aspect of your life or yourself whatsoever. That being said, I'm willing to guess that your answer is never. You never had a day go by where you didn't do any of these things. And if you're one of the rare people who did, then I'm willing to bet that it was one of the happiest days of your life. Because again, to be happy, we first have to accept everything as it is in the present moment. Ourselves, our current situation, those around us, the human condition, the world and worldly circumstances, everything. Of course, this doesn't mean that we can't act to change how it'll be in the future, but to deny that that's how it is now only causes us suffering and distances us from happiness. Acceptance, on the other hand, is a softening of our judgment, a softening of our inner critic, and a softening of our ego, which allows us to see the good in what already is. And once we're able to do that, our level of happiness will take care of itself, without us needing to chase it. So, what do you say? Is acceptance a fair price to pay for your happiness? Okay, so I know I just spent a whole video telling you how you can instantly become happier, but there's something even better than feeling happy. Luckily for you, in my next video, I'll tell you exactly what this is and how to achieve it. So make sure to subscribe to be notified as soon as it drops. Before you leave though, leave a comment down below with what you think that might be. I want this to be a space where we can all share with each other, so I really look forward to reading what you have to say. As for now though, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.